What happens when a simple coffee shop encounter changes everything you thought you knew about reality? When Madison Cross spills coffee on two impossibly handsome strangers, she has no idea she's just met the most powerful werewolves in the city, or that they both want to claim her as their mate. Get ready for a story of forbidden desire, ancient bloodlines, and a love triangle that could tear apart the supernatural world. Don't forget to subscribe for more paranormal romance. Madison Cross rushes through the revolving doors of the downtown Seattle coffee shop, her red hair whipping behind her as she checks her phone for the third time in 5 minutes. The morning meeting with her publisher looms ahead, and she's already running 15 minutes late. The familiar scent of espresso and fresh pastries should calm her nerves. But today, everything feels different, charged with an electricity she can't explain. She joins the line behind two men whose presence seems to command the entire room. The first stands tall and broad-shouldered, his dark hair perfectly styled despite the early hour. Even from behind, she can see the expensive cut of his charcoal suit, the way other customers instinctively give him space. Power radiates from him like heat from a furnace. His companion is equally striking, but in a completely different way. Golden hair catches the morning light streaming through tall windows, and when he turns slightly, she glimpses sharp cheekbones and eyes the color of amber honey. Where the dark-haired man projects authority, this one moves with predatory grace that makes her pulse quicken. Madison fumbles with her oversized tote bag, trying to extract her wallet from its depths. Her manuscript pages threaten to spill everywhere, and she's so focused on organizing the chaos that she doesn't notice the line. Moving forward until she collides directly into the golden-haired stranger, her extra-large coffee explodes across both. Men's pristine shirts. Oh God, I'm so sorry. The words tumble out as she stares in horror at the spreading brown stains. I wasn't looking where I was going, and I'm already late, and... The dark-haired man turns, and Madison's apology dies in her throat. His eyes are the most unusual shade of silver she's ever seen, almost luminous in the morning light. When his gaze meets hers, something fundamental shifts inside her chest, like puzzle pieces clicking into place. "It's fine," he says, his voice a low rumble that seems to vibrate through her bones. But his eyes never leave her face, studying her with an intensity that makes her skin flush. The golden-haired man steps closer, and she catches a scent that reminds her of pine forests and wild storms. "More than fine," he murmurs, and there's something in his tone that makes her shiver despite the warm cafe air. "I'm Kai. Dante," the other man says simply, still watching her with that unsettling silver stare. "Madison." Her voice comes out breathier than intended. "And I really am sorry about your shirts. I can pay for dry cleaning or don't worry about it." Kai's smile reveals perfect white teeth that seem just slightly too sharp. "Though I have to ask, what's got you in such a hurry this morning?" Something about the way he asks makes her want to tell them everything. About her struggling writing career, her hopes riding on today's meeting, the strange dreams that have been haunting her sleep for weeks. Instead, she clutches her bag tighter and takes a step back. "Just work stuff," she says, but she can't seem to look away from either of them. There's something magnetic about their presence, something that makes the rest of the coffee shop fade into background noise. Dante pulls out his phone and glances at the screen. "We should go," he tells Kai, but his eyes remain fixed on Madison. "We're expected at the office." Of course. Kai reaches into his jacket and pulls out a business card, pressing it into her palm. His fingers are warm against her skin, and she feels a jolt of electricity at the contact. "In case you change your mind about that dry cleaning." They leave without another word, but Madison can feel them watching her through the tall windows as she finally reaches the counter to order. Her hand tingles where Kai touched her, and she finds herself glancing at the business card. Kai Thorne, Vice President, Black Moon Enterprises. She's never heard of the company, but something tells her this encounter is far from over. Madison stares at Kai's business card for the 20th time since returning to her cramped apartment 3 hours ago. The meeting with her publisher had gone better than expected. They wanted to see more of her paranormal romance series, but she can't focus on the good news. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees silver and amber gazes that seem to see straight through her soul. She tosses the card onto her cluttered desk and tries to concentrate on her laptop screen, but the cursor blinks mockingly at her. Usually writing flows from her fingertips like water, especially when she's crafting supernatural love stories. Today, every word feels forced, artificial compared to the electric reality of her morning encounter. Her phone buzzes with a text from her best friend Sarah. How did the meeting go? Details. Instead of responding about the publisher, Madison finds herself typing, met two guys at coffee shop. Can't stop thinking about them. Sarah's response is immediate. Hot? Rich? Available? All three? Madison stares at the questions, unsure how to answer. Hot doesn't begin to cover the raw magnetism both men possessed. Rich seems likely, given their expensive clothes and the confidence that comes with serious money. Available? She has no idea, but something deep in her gut whispers that availability might be the least of her concerns. Her laptop pings with an email notification, interrupting her swirling thoughts. The sender makes her heart skip. D. Black Moon Enterprises, com. The subject line is simple, coffee replacement. Madison, I hope your meeting went well today. Kai mentioned you seemed stressed about being late. I've taken the liberty of having our driver deliver coffee and pastries from the shop where we met. I hope you don't mind the presumption. There's something we need to discuss with you. Something important. Would you be available for dinner tomorrow evening? I can send a car. Dante Madison reads the message 3 times, her pulse accelerating with each pass. How did he get her email address? And what could these strangers possibly need to discuss with her? A knock at her door interrupts her spiraling thoughts. Through the peephole, she sees a uniformed driver holding an expensive-looking bag. Against her better judgment, she opens the door. Miss Cross? Delivery from Black Moon Enterprises. The bag contains her favorite coffee blend and an assortment of pastries from the city's most exclusive bakery. Tucked beneath the food is a handwritten note in elegant script for your writing. D. Madison sinks onto her couch, clutching the note. Normal men don't track down addresses from a chance encounter. Normal men don't send expensive gifts within hours of meeting someone. And normal men definitely don't make her feel like her entire world has tilted off its axis with a single look. But then again, nothing about Dante or Kai had felt normal. She thinks about the dreams that have been plaguing her for weeks, visions of running through dark forests under a full moon, of howls echoing through the night, of golden eyes watching her from the shadows. Dreams so vivid, she sometimes wakes with dirt under her fingernails and pine needles in her hair. Though she lives on the 14th floor of a downtown apartment building, Madison pulls out her phone and starts typing a response to Dante's email, then deletes it. Types again, deletes again. Finally, she settles on, "Thank you for the coffee. Dinner tomorrow is fine, but I prefer to meet somewhere public." She hits send before she can change her mind. The response comes within minutes. Of course, Il Cielo at 8. I'll make reservations. Il Cielo, one of the most exclusive restaurants in the city. Madison owns exactly one dress nice enough for such a place, and she's pretty sure it's been wrinkled at the bottom of her closet for months as she heads to her bedroom to assess her wardrobe options. She can't shake the feeling that accepting this dinner invitation is going to change everything. The rational part of her mind screams warnings about meeting strange men, about being cautious, about protecting herself. But a deeper part of her, a part she's never fully acknowledged, whispers that she's been waiting her whole life for this moment. Il Cielo occupies the top floor of one of Seattle's most prestigious buildings, and Madison feels underdressed despite her best black dress and the heels that are already making her feet ache. The hostess, a statuesque blonde with the kind of bone structure that suggests expensive breeding, looks her over with barely concealed disdain. "I'm meeting Dante Blackmoon," Madison says, trying to project more confidence than she feels. The hostess's entire demeanor shifts instantly. "Of course, Miss Cross, right this way." She's led through a dining room filled with the city's elite, politicians, celebrities, tech moguls she recognizes from magazine covers. But all conversation seems to pause as they pass, and Madison feels dozens of eyes tracking her movement across the room. Dante waits at a corner table with floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the city lights. He's changed from his coffee-stained shirt into a dark suit that probably costs more than her monthly rent, but it's his eyes that capture her attention. Those impossible silver irises seem to glow in the candlelight. "Madison." He stands as she approaches, and she notices how every other diner's attention seems drawn to him. "Thank you for coming." "Thank you for dinner." She settles into the chair he pulls out for her, trying not to think about how his fingers brush her shoulders as he pushes it in. "Though I have to admit, I'm curious why you wanted to meet." A waiter appears immediately with champagne she didn't order, pouring crystal flutes with practiced efficiency. Dante waits until they're alone again before speaking. "Tell me about your dreams, Madison." The question hits her like a physical blow. She nearly chokes on her champagne. "Excuse me?" "The dreams you've been having for the past few weeks. Running through forests. Golden eyes watching you. The howling that sounds almost like—" He pauses, studying her face. "Like calling." Madison sets down her glass with trembling fingers. "How could you possibly know about my dreams?" "Because they're not dreams." Dante leans forward, his voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carries more weight than a shout. "They're memories, Madison. Memories of who you really are. That's impossible. I think I'd know if I was running around Seattle's forests at night." "Not Seattle's forests." His smile doesn't reach his eyes. "The forests of your ancestors. The packed lands where you were born." The world seems to tilt sideways. Madison grips the edge of the table, her knuckles white against the pristine tablecloth. "Packed lands? What are you talking about?" "You're one of us, Madison. A werewolf. The daughter of the most powerful alpha family in North America, though you were hidden away as a child for your own protection." Madison laughs, but it comes out sharp and hysterical. "You're insane. Werewolves don't exist. This is all some elaborate joke, right? Did Sarah put you up to this?" Dante's expression remains completely serious. "Look around this room, Madison. Really look. Use the senses you've been suppressing your entire life." Against her better judgment, she does. The overwhelming scents hit her first. Expensive perfumes, leather, wine, but underneath it all something wilder, more primal. She can hear conversations from across the room, as clearly as if the speakers were sitting next to her. And the people. Now that she's paying attention, she notices things. The way certain diners move with predatory grace. The flash of two sharp canines when someone laughs. Eyes that reflect light just a little too brightly. "The Black Moon Pack controls this territory," Dante continues quietly. "And every supernatural in the city knows to show respect when we're present. That's why everyone's watching us tonight. They can smell your bloodline on you, even if you can't recognize it yourself." Madison pushes back from the table, her chair scraping against the floor. "This is crazy." "I'm leaving. Sit down, Madison." The command in his voice hits her like a physical force, and she finds herself sinking back into her chair before she consciously decides to obey. "There are things you need to understand. Dangerous things. Your scent has been getting stronger every day as your 25th birthday approaches. Other packs are starting to notice." "Other packs?" "Kai's pack, for one." "The Golden Crescent pack from the Eastern Territories." Dante's jaw tightens. "They've been expanding their influence, looking for powerful bloodlines to strengthen their ranks. And your bloodline, Madison, is the most powerful of all." Madison barely sleeps that night, Dante's words echoing in her mind like a mantra she can't escape. Every rational thought tells her to forget the entire conversation, to block his number and pretend the coffee shop encounter never happened. But her body feels different now, hyper-aware in ways that make no sense. She can smell her neighbor's morning coffee through the walls, can hear Mrs. Peterson's cat purring 3 floors down. And when she looks in the bathroom mirror, her own eyes seem brighter, more alert, as if something long dormant is finally stirring to life. The knock on her door comes at exactly 8 a.m., sharp and authoritative. Madison already knows who it is before she looks through the peephole. Kai Thorne stands in her hallway, holding 2 steaming coffee cups and wearing a smile that doesn't quite mask the predatory gleam in his amber eyes. He's traded yesterday's expensive suit for dark jeans and a leather jacket that emphasizes the lean strength of his frame. "Good morning, Madison." His voice carries that same low rumble that made her shiver yesterday. "We need to talk. Let me guess. About werewolves and pack politics and how I'm supposedly some long-lost supernatural princess." His smile widens, revealing those 2 sharp canines she'd noticed before. Dante always did like the dramatic approach. "May I come in?" She should say no. Should slam the door and call the police, or a therapist, or someone who deals with elaborate delusions. Instead, she steps aside. Kai moves through her small apartment with casual confidence, setting the coffee on her kitchen counter before turning to study her with uncomfortable intensity. "He told you about your bloodline. He told me a lot of things, most of them insane, but you believe him. It's not a question. Your wolf is waking up, isn't it? The enhanced senses, the restlessness, the dreams getting stronger every night." Madison wraps her arms around herself, suddenly feeling exposed. Even if any of this were true, which I'm not saying it is, what does it matter? I've lived 24 years as a human. I have a human life, human friends, human problems. Human problems like the man who's been following you for the past 3 days? Ice floods Madison's veins. "What man?" Kai pulls out his phone and shows her a series of photos, her leaving her apartment building, walking to the coffee shop, entering her favorite bookstore. In each image, a dark figure lurks in the background, always partially obscured but unmistakably tracking her movements. Marcus Steele, enforcer for the Silver Moon Pack out of Portland. They specialize in acquiring rare bloodlines through less than voluntary means. Madison sinks onto her couch, suddenly understanding why her skin has been crawling every time she's left her apartment lately. "You've been watching me too. Protecting you." Kai sits beside her, close enough that she can smell pine and storm wind on his skin. "The Golden Crescent Pack has been looking for you for years, Madison. When word got out that the Lost Crosshair was finally manifesting, every pack with territorial ambitions started paying attention." Crosshair. Your father was Nathan Cross, Alpha of the Northern Territories Pack. Your mother was Elena Nightshade, bloodline royalty from the oldest werewolf families in existence. Their union was supposed to bring peace between the Northern and Western territories. Kai's expression darkens. Instead, it started a war that's been brewing for 25 years. Madison's coffee grows cold in her hands as the weight of his words settles over her. "What happened to them?" "They were murdered when you were 6 months old. The official story was a car accident, but those of us who know the truth understand it was an assassination. You were smuggled away by a human family, the Crosses who raised you, and hidden with memory charms to suppress your wolf until you came of age." "Memory charms." Madison laughs bitterly. "Now you sound like Dante. What's next, magic wands and flying broomsticks?" Kai reaches out and touches her hand, and the contact sends electricity shooting up her arm. "Focus on my touch, Madison. Let yourself feel what's really there." The moment his skin meets hers, images flood her mind. Moonlit forests, the sound of howls echoing through ancient trees. The feeling of running on 4 legs instead of 2. A little girl with red hair laughing as she chases fireflies. Her parents watching with golden eyes, full of love and pride. Madison jerks her hand away, gasping. "That was real. Those are your real memories. The life they tried to make you forget." Madison spends the afternoon in Pike Place Market, trying to process everything Kai told her while surrounded by crowds of normal humans living normal lives. But even here, she can't escape the supernatural world that's apparently been hidden beneath her nose her entire life. She notices them everywhere now. People who move too gracefully, who seem to communicate with glances, whose eyes track her movement through the market stalls with interest that feels far from casual. A woman selling flowers has fangs that extend slightly when she smiles. A street musician's eyes flash gold in the afternoon sun. The man behind the fish counter watches her with an intensity that makes her skin crawl. Her phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. The bookshop on First Street. 1 hour, come alone. Audie Madison stares at the message, torn between curiosity and self-preservation. Every instinct tells her to go home, pack a bag, and catch the first bus out of the city. But a deeper part of her, the part that's been stirring to life since yesterday, whispers that running won't solve anything. The bookshop is exactly the kind of place she'd normally love, floor to ceiling, shelves packed with rare volumes, the scent of leather and aged paper, cozy reading nooks tucked into shadowy corners. Today, it feels like walking into a trap. Dante waits in the mythology section, his silver eyes reflecting the lamplight as he studies a leather-bound volume. He's traded his expensive suit for dark jeans and a sweater that emphasizes the breadth of his shoulders. But he still radiates that dangerous authority that makes other customers give him a wide berth. "Kai came to see you this morning," he says without looking up from his book. "How did you—" Madison stops herself. "Right, supernatural tracking abilities. I'm still getting used to this. What did he tell you?" "The truth, apparently. About my parents, about why I was hidden, about the pack that's been hunting me." She moves closer, lowering her voice. "He also told me that you and he aren't exactly allies." Dante finally looks at her, and the intensity in his gaze makes her breath catch. "The Black Moon and Golden Crescent packs have been rivals for generations. We've maintained an uneasy truce, but your awakening threatens to upset that balance. Because you both want to claim me? Because you represent power." He closes the book and sets it aside, giving her his full attention. The Cross-Nightshade bloodline carries abilities that haven't been seen in over a century. Shape-shifting without the full moon. Telepathic connections with other wolves. The ability to command loyalty from any pack member, regardless of their original allegiance. Madison feels the color drain from her face. "That's why you could make me sit down at the restaurant. You were using some kind of alpha command, and it worked because you're an alpha yourself. Born to rule, not to follow." Dante steps closer, and she can feel the heat radiating from his body. "But untrained power is dangerous, Madison. Without proper guidance, you could lose control completely. And let me guess, you're volunteering to provide that guidance." "I'm offering protection." His voice drops to that low rumble that seems to resonate in her bones. "The Black Moon Pack is the strongest in this territory. Under my protection, no one would dare touch you. For a price. For a bond." Dante reaches out and brushes a strand of hair from her face, his fingers lingering against her cheek. "Mate with me, Madison. Let me mark you as mine, and you'll have the full strength of my pack behind you." The proposal hits her like a physical blow. "You're asking me to marry you?" "I've known you for 2 days. I'm asking you to accept what we both felt the moment we met." His thumb traces along her jawline, and she can't suppress the shiver that runs through her. The mate bond doesn't follow human timelines, Madison. When wolves recognize their destined partner, the connection is immediate and absolute. Before she can respond, the bookshop door chimes, and Kai's scent hits her enhanced senses. He stands in the doorway, his amber eyes taking in Dante's proximity to Madison with obvious displeasure. "Interesting timing," Kai says, his voice deceptively casual as he approaches them. "I was just about to make Madison the same offer." The tension in the small bookshop becomes suffocating as both men face each other across the narrow aisle. Madison can practically feel the air crackling with supernatural energy, and she notices that every other customer has quietly fled the building. "You're out of line." "Thorn," Dante says, his voice carrying dangerous undertones. "Madison is under Black Moon protection." "Since when?" Kai's smile reveals those sharp canines. "I don't see your mark on her." "As far as I know, she's still free to choose." "Choose what exactly?" Madison steps back from both of them, her patience finally snapping. "You're both talking about me like I'm some kind of prize to be won, some territory to be claimed. I'm a person, not a political alliance." You're much more than that, Kai says, his gaze never leaving Dante's face. You're the key to ending a war that's been tearing our people apart for decades. The Cross-Nightshade bloodline represents a chance for true peace between the packs. Through forced mating? Madison laughs bitterly. How exactly does that solve anything? Dante finally looks at her, his silver eyes intense. Because the mate bond creates unbreakable loyalty. Marry into the Black Moon Pack, and the Eastern Territories will have no choice but to recognize our authority over the disputed lands. It ends the conflict before it escalates into open war. And if she chooses Golden Crescent, Kai adds smoothly, the Western Packs will finally have the strength to push back against Black Moon expansion. Either way, the bloodshed stops. Madison stares at both of them, understanding dawning like cold water in her veins. This isn't about love or mate bonds or destiny. This is about politics. You're both trying to use me as a weapon. It started that way, Dante admits, and his honesty catches her off guard. But the moment I saw you, Madison, the moment our eyes met, everything changed. The mate bond is real, regardless of the political implications. Kai steps closer, his voice dropping to that hypnotic rumble. He's right about the bond, but he's lying about his intentions. The Black Moon Pack has been planning to absorb all the smaller territories for years. Mating with you just gives them the legitimacy they need to do it without resistance. And Golden Crescent is any different. Dante counters. You've been expanding eastward for the past decade, Thorn. At least I'm honest about my ambitions. Madison feels something snapping inside her chest, not breaking but transforming. The air around her begins to shimmer with heat, and both men suddenly freeze. Enough. The word comes out with power she didn't know she possessed, and she watches both alphas instinctively bow their heads in submission before catching themselves. I don't care about your territorial disputes, or your pack politics, or your convenient mate bonds. I care about staying alive long enough to figure out what I actually want. She turns toward the door, then pauses. You want to protect me? Fine, but I'm not making any decisions about my future until I understand exactly what I'm capable of. And I'm certainly not mating with anyone who sees me as a political asset first and a woman second. Madison. Wait! Kai starts forward, but she holds up her hand, and he stops immediately. No. I'm done being told what I am, what I should do, who I should choose. If you're both so concerned about my safety, then work together to keep me alive while I learn to control whatever's happening to me. But this competition between you ends now. She can feel power flowing through her veins like liquid fire, and for the first time since this nightmare began, she feels in control. I'll be in touch when I'm ready to make decisions about my own life. Until then, stay away from each other and stay away from me. The door chimes as she leaves, but neither man follows her. Madison can feel their eyes on her retreating form, can sense their frustration and surprise at her display of dominance. For the first time in days, she smiles. Maybe being a supernatural creature won't be so bad after all, especially if it means no one gets to push her around anymore. But as she walks toward her apartment, she catches a familiar scent on the wind. Pine and leather and something darker. Marcus Steele is still out there, still hunting, and now she's truly on her own. Madison doesn't make it 3 blocks before she realizes she's being followed. Not by Dante or Kai, their scents are distinct and familiar now, but by something that makes every supernatural instinct she's recently discovered scream warnings. The man from Kai's. Photo steps out of an alley ahead of her, blocking her path with practiced ease. Marcus Steele is everything the other werewolves are not, scarred, brutal, with eyes that hold no warmth or humanity. His smile reveals teeth filed to sharp points. Finally, he says, his voice like gravel. The famous Madison Cross. You've been causing quite a stir in supernatural circles. Madison backs away, her heart hammering against her ribs. I don't know what you want, but, oh, I think you do. Marcus takes a step forward, and she can smell violence on him like a cologne. The Silver Moon Pack has very specific plans for someone with your bloodline. Plans that don't require your cooperation. The world seems to slow down as Marcus lunges forward with inhuman speed. Madison's newly awakened instincts take over, and she dodges sideways just as claws rake through the air where her throat had been. The movement feels natural, fluid, as if she's been fighting for her life for years instead of days. Interesting, Marcus growls, circling her like a predator. They said you were untrained, but you move like an alpha. Stay away from me. Madison can feel that strange heat building in her chest again, the same power that had silenced Dante and Kai in the bookshop. I'm warning you, Marcus laughs, a sound devoid of humor. Warn all you want, little princess. The Silver Moon Pack doesn't negotiate with prey. He attacks again, faster this time, but Madison is ready. Power explodes outward from her core like a shockwave, sending Marcus flying backward into a brick wall. The impact leaves a spiderweb of cracks in the mortar. Impossible, Marcus whispers, struggling to his feet. Blood trickles from his nose, and for the first time, his confident smirk falters. That kind of power. You'd need decades of training. Apparently not. Madison can feel energy crackling along her skin, and she knows her eyes are glowing with supernatural light. Now leave, before I decide to see what else I can do. Instead of retreating, Marcus pulls out his phone and speaks rapidly in a language she doesn't recognize. More sense hit her enhanced senses, at least 6 more werewolves approaching from different directions. You should have come quietly, Marcus snarls. Now we do this the hard way. The first attacker comes from her left, a woman with silver hair and predatory grace. Madison spins and catches her with a backhanded blow that sends her sprawling across the sidewalk. 2 more close in from behind, but she's already moving. Power flowing through her like a river of fire. She's never fought before, never even taken a self-defense class, but her body knows exactly how to move, how to strike, how to use her enhanced strength and speed to maximum advantage. It's as if 24 years of suppressed instincts are all awakening at once. The battle lasts less than 3 minutes. When the dust settles, 6 silver moon wolves lie unconscious around her, and Marcus is backing away with genuine fear in his eyes. This isn't over, he spits. The pack will send more. Stronger ones. Let them come. Madison's voice carries that alpha command again, and even Marcus flinches. But they better bring an army, because I'm done being anyone's victim. Marcus disappears into the shadows, leaving Madison alone with 6 unconscious werewolves and the growing realization that she's just declared war on one of the most dangerous packs in North America, her. Phone buzzes with simultaneous texts from Dante and Kai. We're coming. For once, Madison doesn't argue. She's discovered her power, but she's also just painted a target on her back that's visible from orbit. Like it or not, she's going to need allies. The war she was born into has finally begun, and she's just chosen her side, her own. Dawn breaks over the Black Moon Pack compound, a sprawling estate hidden in the mountains east of Seattle. Madison stands at the floor-to-ceiling windows of Dante's office, watching wolves patrol the grounds in both human and shifted forms. After last night's battle with the Silver Moon Pack, both Dante and Kai agreed that neutral ground was no longer an option. The other territories are taking sides, Kai reports, entering the office with his golden hair still damp from a shower and his amber eyes grim. Silver Moon has called in favors from Portland, Vancouver, and the California coastal packs. They're mobilizing for a full assault. Dante looks up from the tactical maps spread across his desk. Numbers. At least 200 wolves, maybe more. They'll be here by tomorrow night. Kai glances at Madison, and she catches something unspoken pass between the 2 men. There's something else. They've issued a formal challenge under the old laws. Madison turns from the window. What does that mean? It means they're not just coming for you anymore, Dante explains, his silver eyes reflecting the morning light. They're challenging my right to protect you, my territory, my pack's authority. It's a declaration of war that goes back to our most ancient traditions. Let me guess, trial by combat. 3 battles, Kai confirms. Champion against champion. Winner takes all. Madison feels ice settle in her stomach. And if you lose, the Black Moon Pack is absorbed into Silver Moon territory. Our wolves become their wolves. Our lands become their hunting grounds. Dante stands and moves to join her at the window. And you become their prisoner. There has to be another way. There is. Kai's voice is carefully neutral. You could invoke Alpha right by blood and challenge for leadership yourself. The suggestion hangs in the air like a loaded weapon. Madison stares at both men, understanding dawning slowly. You want me to fight Marcus Steele myself? Not Marcus, Dante says quietly. Elena Ravencroft, the Silver Moon Pack's true alpha. Marcus is just her enforcer. I've never even met this woman. Why would she agree to single combat? Because defeating the lost Crosshair in front of all the assembled packs would legitimize her claim to the Northern Territories once and for all, Kai explains. She's been building toward this moment for years. Madison sinks into one of Dante's leather chairs, suddenly feeling the weight of 24 years of suppressed destiny crushing down on her. And if I refuse? Then hundreds of wolves die in a war that started before you were born, Dante says bluntly, including most of my pack, probably Kai's as well, and eventually you anyway when Silver Moon wins through sheer numbers. Through the windows, she can see wolves preparing for battle, checking weapons, running training drills, saying goodbye to mates and children who might be evacuated before the fighting starts. All because of her bloodline, her parents' choices, her very existence. There's something else you need to know, Kai says, settling into the chair across from her. About the mate bond you've been fighting. Madison looks between the two men, noting the tension that still crackles between them, despite their temporary alliance. Let me guess. It's more complicated than either of you initially explained. The Cross-Nightshade bloodline doesn't follow normal mating patterns, Dante admits. Your ancestors were known for bonding with multiple partners, creating pack alliances through shared mates. The implication hits her like a physical blow. You're saying I'm supposed to mate with both of you? We're saying it's possible, Kai says carefully. The power you displayed yesterday, it came from accepting your dual nature. Your wolf recognizes both of us as potential mates, because the bond could strengthen all three packs involved. Madison stands abruptly, pacing to the far side of the room. So my entire love life was predetermined by genetics? That's not exactly romantic. Nothing about this situation is normal, Dante acknowledges. But the feelings are real, Madison. The connection you feel to both of us. That's not politics or bloodline manipulation. That's your wolf recognizing its mates. She stops pacing and faces them both. And after I potentially die fighting this Elena woman tomorrow night, then what? Assuming I somehow survive, I'm supposed to just accept a supernatural ménage à trois because it's politically convenient? You're supposed to accept what will make you strongest, Kai says, standing to meet her gaze. Because, like it or not, tomorrow's fight isn't just about you or your parents or pack politics. Elena Ravencroft has been gathering power for 25 years, and she won't stop with the Northern Territories. She wants to rule all werewolves in North America. A supernatural dictator, Madison says flatly. Exactly. And you're the only one with the bloodline strength to stop her. Dante joins them, and Madison finds herself surrounded by two powerful alphas, whose very presence makes her skin tingle with awareness. But only if you embrace everything you are, including the bonds that could triple your power. Madison closes her eyes and takes a deep breath, trying to sort through the chaos of emotions and instincts warring in her chest. When she opens them again, both men are watching her with expressions of hope and desire that make her heart race. If we do this, if I accept both bonds, what happens to your pack rivalry? It ends, Dante says immediately. Black Moon and Golden Crescent become allied territories under your leadership. My leadership. You're the alpha, Madison, Kai reminds her. Born to it, trained for it whether you knew it or not. We're just your lieutenants. The idea should terrify her. 3 days ago, she was a struggling romance writer with a normal human life. Now they're asking her to become a supernatural queen and lead a war against an enemy she's never met. But looking at Dante and Kai, feeling the power that hums beneath her skin and the undeniable pull toward both men, Madison realizes she's tired of running from her destiny. "Then we do this," she says, her voice carrying that alpha command that makes both men straighten instinctively. "All of it. The bonds, the alliance, the fight with Elena, but we do it my way. What do you need?" Dante asks immediately. Madison's smile is sharp as her newly prominent canines. "I need to learn everything I can about my bloodline abilities in the next 18 hours. And then I need to show every pack in North America exactly what happens when they threaten what's mine. The war for her parents' legacy is about to begin." But for the first time since this nightmare started, Madison Cross feels ready to fight. The ancient stone circle deep in Black Moon territory pulses with supernatural energy as representatives from dozens of packs gather under the full moon. Madison stands at the edge of the ritual space, her enhanced senses cataloging every scent, every heartbeat, every whispered conversation among the assembled wolves. She's changed in the 18 hours since accepting her destiny. The mating bonds with Dante and Kai have awakened abilities she never dreamed possible. She can feel every member of both packs like extensions of her own soul, can communicate telepathically across vast distances, can channel their combined strength through her own body. Her eyes now hold flecks of both silver and gold, marking her as something unprecedented in werewolf history. The Silver Moon delegation approaches. Kai murmurs beside her, his hand resting protectively on her lower back. The casual touch sends warmth spiraling through her body, the mate bond humming with shared energy. Elena Ravencroft enters the circle with the confidence of someone who's never lost a battle. She's beautiful in the way predators are beautiful, sharp, deadly, completely without mercy. Her silver hair gleams in the moonlight, and her pale eyes fix on Madison with undisguised hunger. "So this is the lost princess," Elena calls out, her voice carrying across the stone circle. "Smaller than I expected. Are you sure she's really Nathan Cross's daughter?" "Careful, Elena," Dante warns, moving to Madison's other side. "You're about to find out exactly what cross bloodline can do." Elena laughs, the sound echoing off the ancient stones. "I killed her parents, boy. I know precisely what the cross line is capable of. The question is whether this untrained child can access even a fraction of that power." The confession hits Madison like a physical blow, but instead of weakening her, it ignites something fierce and primal in her chest. Power explodes outward from her core, and every wolf in the circle takes an involuntary step back. "You murdered my parents," Madison says, her voice carrying supernatural authority that makes even Elena's confident smirk falter. "You destroyed my childhood, scattered my pack, and spent 25 years hunting me like an animal, and now I'm going to finish what I started." Elena begins to shift, her human form rippling and expanding into something monstrous. Her wolf form is massive, silver-furred and battle-scarred, with eyes like chips of Arctic ice. Madison feels her own shift beginning, not the painful transformation she'd expected, but something fluid and natural, like slipping into clothes that fit perfectly. Her wolf is larger than Elena's, her fur a deep auburn shot through with silver and gold highlights that mark her unique bloodline. When she opens her eyes, they glow with tri-colored light that makes several observers gasp. The two wolves circle each other in the stone ring, and Madison can feel the attention of every supernatural creature in North America, focused on this moment. The outcome of this fight will determine the future of their entire species. Elena attacks first, going for the throat with brutal efficiency, but Madison is ready, her enhanced speed allowing her to dodge and counter with a strike that sends the Silver Moon Alpha rolling across the stone floor. Elena recovers quickly, but Madison can see surprise in her pale eyes. She'd expected easy prey, not an opponent who could match her strength. The battle rages for what feels like hours, but is probably only minutes. Elena fights with vicious experience, using every dirty trick learned in decades of pack warfare. But Madison fights with something more powerful, the combined strength of 3 bloodlines, the support of 2 mate bonds, and the righteous fury of someone fighting for her chosen family. When Elena makes her final desperate lunge, Madison is ready. She catches the Silver Moon Alpha by the throat and pins her to the ground with supernatural strength that comes from accepting every part of her heritage, human and wolf. Cross and Nightshade, individual and pack leader. Yield, Madison commands, her voice carrying the power of absolute alpha authority. Elena's struggles weaken, then stop entirely. In the ancient language of their people, she speaks the words that end the war. I yield to the true alpha. The stone circle erupts in howls of victory and submission as every pack present acknowledges Madison's right to rule. 1 month later, Madison stands on the balcony of the newly constructed pack house that serves as headquarters for the Allied territories, the union of dozens of previously rival packs under her leadership. The morning sun glints off the wedding rings on her left hand, symbols of the unprecedented triple bond that has revolutionized werewolf politics across North America. The Portland delegation is requesting an audience, Dante reports, joining her on the balcony with coffee and the easy grace of a man completely comfortable in his role as her second-in-command. The silver band on his finger matches hers, marking him as her first mate and co-leader of their expanded pack. What do they want? Madison asks, accepting the coffee with a smile that still sends heat spiraling through her chest. The mate bonds have only grown stronger over the weeks, creating an intimacy and partnership she'd never imagined possible, probably. The same thing everyone else wants, to understand how you've managed to end centuries of territorial warfare in less than 30 days. Kai emerges from the bedroom, his golden hair still mussed from sleep and his amber eyes warm with satisfaction. His matching ring catches the light as he settles behind Madison, his arms encircling her waist. Madison leans back against his warmth, marveling at how natural this feels. The human part of her had worried about jealousy, about complicated dynamics, about the logistics of loving two powerful men simultaneously. But the wolf in her knows better, knows that some bonds transcend human understanding, that some connections are too strong for conventional rules. Elena's surrender changed everything, she says, thinking about the Silver Moon Alpha, who now serves as her military advisor, her violent ambitions channeled into protecting rather than conquering. When the most feared pack leader in North America acknowledged my authority, it sent a message that couldn't be ignored. It didn't hurt that you also demonstrated the ability to share power rather than hoarding it, Dante points out. Elena expected to be executed or exiled. Instead, you gave her a place in the new order. Mercy is more powerful than fear, Madison says, remembering the lessons learned in those chaotic first weeks after accepting her heritage. Our people have been ruled by fear for too long. Her phone buzzes with a message from her publisher. The Werewolf romance series is flying off the shelves. When can we expect the next book? Madison laughs, showing the text to her mates. She has no idea how much research I've been doing lately. Are you going to tell her the truth? Kai asks, his breath warm against her neck. That I'm actually living in a paranormal romance novel? I think that might strain credibility. Madison turns in his arms to face both men, her heart swelling with love and gratitude for the impossible life she's built. Besides, some stories are better experienced than written. Dante steps closer, his silver eyes warm with the kind of desire that never seems to fade. Speaking of experiences, we have about an hour before the Portland meeting, and the bedroom is right there, Kai adds with a grin that reveals his sharp canines. Madison feels heat pool in her belly as both men crowd closer, their scents mingling with hers in the way that always makes her wolf purr with satisfaction. You're terrible influences, both of you. You love it, Dante murmurs, pressing a kiss to her temple. We love you, Kai corrects, his hands settling on her hips with possessive familiarity. Madison looks out over the territory she now rules, thousands of werewolves living in peace for the first time in generations, former enemies working together to build something better, children playing safely in the courtyard below without fear of war or violence. Her parents' dream of unity has finally been realized. And she's found a love beyond anything she ever wrote in her romance novels. "I love you too," she whispers. Then louder, "Both of you, always." As they head inside together, Madison catches sight of her reflection in the bedroom mirror. A woman transformed, powerful, complete. The scared coffee shop customer is gone, replaced by an alpha who knows exactly who she is and what she wants. And what she wants is this life, these men, this impossible happiness that began with spilled coffee and silver eyes. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more paranormal romance stories that will make your heart race and your imagination soar.